magical musical horse.
Oh my god, you guys, has anyone started studying for the exam? I am seriously freaking out.
I'm totally freaking out.
Seriously, I don't even know what to do.
Y'all, does anyone have notes from like the last 4 weeks?
Haven't been to class in a month.
I've seriously been completely checked out this semester. I can't even remember what the class is called.
You guys, what are we gonna do?
I don't know. Should we try calling that magical music horse?
Magical music horse? What are you talking about?
Oh my god, right? It's a magical horse that knows about music.
Well, what are we waiting for? Can we call it?
Yes, please, somebody call this damn horse.
Okay, I'm on it. Hello, is this the magical musical horse?
Yes, it is. And with whom am I speaking?
My name's Jeff, and my friends and I really need your help.
You need my help with what exactly?
We need to learn about the classical period in music, and, like, super fast.
I see. Do you have an exam coming up?
Yeah, and it's like really soon.
Have you been paying attention in class?
Honestly, not really, but I just kind of figured I'd copy someone else's notes.
And were you able to do that?
No, nobody took notes.
I see. Okay, I will help you.
Oh my god, thank you. Okay, great. So, our first question is, when did the classical period occur?
The classical period in music is the first significant period following the Baroque period, and is generally considered to have occurred between the years 1750 and 1820.
Didn't the teacher say that the music of the classical period was pretty different from what came before?
Oh, I definitely slept through that week.
This section was like several weeks long.
Are you seriously shaming me for being tired? I have a condition.
You have a condition?
Okay. Nobody is shaming anyone. Everyone's got a condition. Let's just ask the horse.
Okay, horse, how is the music of the classical period different from what came before?
As you may remember, the music of the Baroque period, which preceded the classical period, often featured dense and complex contrapuntal writing, as well as emphasis on details like ornamentation. And while the musical forms of the Baroque period certainly represented a strong musical logic, without a detailed understanding of a composition like a fugue, for example, that logic may have gone over some listeners' heads. On the other hand, the music of the classical period often emphasizes balance, easily perceivable formal structures, a sense of clarity, and by and large might be considered a bit more accessible to the casual listener, although that is certainly subjective.
It seems kind of sus to me that music would just suddenly change in 1750.
But remember, that was also the year that Bach died.
So just because his music was kind of mid, everything just suddenly changed.
Why do you hate Bach so much?
I don't hate Bach, I just think his music is kind of mid.
I think you're kind of mid.
Guys, we need to focus. I can't even remember what we were talking about.
Oh, the switch from the Baroque to classical in 1750.
Right, that's it, Jeff. Ask the horse before things go off the rails again.
Okay, horse, in 1750, did music just suddenly change?
Certainly not. There was a style of music that gained in popularity toward the end of the Baroque period called Rococo, which was less dense and favored a kind of structural clarity that was not always present in the Baroque period. Furthermore, the Enlightenment, a philosophical movement which favored order and clarity, had an impact on the approaches composers took to their music. In short, transitions from one musical period to another are quite gradual, and that was certainly the case here.
Didn't the teacher talk about the relationship between the visual arts, architecture, and music during the classical period?
I mean, probably, but if it was during rush week, I can promise you I have no idea.
Haha, rush week. How'd that work out for you? Aren't you back living at home now?
Shut up. Just shut up.
Now you shut up.
Everyone, shut up. Just ask the horse.
Can you tell us about the relationship between the visual arts, architecture, and music during the classical period?
During the classical era, visual art, architecture, and music represented balance, clarity, and harmony. Artists, architects, and composers were basically speaking the same language, but through different mediums. You can see this in the clean lines of buildings, the structure of paintings, and the elegance of form in symphonies by composers like Haydn and Mozart. Each art form aimed to reflect order, reason, and clarity, which were big ideals of the time.
Following up on that, does anyone remember what musical forms were popular during the classical period?
I wrote down something starting with the letter R, but I can't read the rest of it.
Oh wow, you took notes?
I mean, I took like a page over the course of the semester, and I can't read most of it.
All I have written down is the word sonata and someone's phone number.
Whose number is it?
No idea. But it also says to not call after 9 p.m.
We will definitely call that number later, but for now, we need to maintain our focus.
Good call. Okay, horse, what musical forms were popular during the classical period?
Many of the musical forms found in the Baroque period continued to be popular in the classical period, including the concerto the string quartet, and theme and variations, which, as you probably remember, was exploited to great success with Bach's Goldberg variations. Other musical forms, like the symphony, the rondo, and the sonata, became increasingly popular during the classical period.
Does anyone know any details about these musical forms?
I wrote down A, B, B, A, ABBA. Oh wait, that might be from my history of rock course.
Kind of sounds familiar. I definitely remember something about 3 or 4 sections or movements.
Oh yeah, and like the last section was really exciting or something.
I think you guys are onto something, but let's make sure. Horse, can you give us some details about the different musical forms?
Most certainly, and as each musical form is slightly different, I will go one by one. Firstly, the musical form you seem to be referring to is the symphony. A symphony generally includes 4 movements, although symphonies with more or less movements were also composed. The first movement often follows sonata form, while the second movement is generally slower and a bit more lyrical. The third movement will generally up the ante a bit with a faster, dance-like tempo. And the final movement is often the most exciting, going out with a bang, so to speak. Sonata form was kind of the go-to structure for a lot of music during the classical period. Sonata form is built around a simple idea. You present some musical themes, you mess around with them, move into different musical territory, and then you bring them back, which provides the listener with a sense of closure. That's the basic idea, and those 3 main sections are referred to as the exposition, development, and recapitulation. Rondo form was also a favorite during the classical period, especially for final movements, as it's catchy, easy to follow, and fun to listen to.
Wow, that rondo was super fun.
The basic idea is that one main theme keeps coming back, like a musical home base, with contrasting sections in between to keep things interesting. You'll usually see the form of a rondo described as something like A, B, A, C, A, or A, B, A, C, A, B, A. What this means is that the main theme A keeps returning, while the B, C, and sometimes other sections introduce new material in between. You could refer to these as episodes, so the listener gets that satisfying feeling of hearing something familiar come back after a bit of a detour. Composers like Mozart and Haydn used rondo form quite a bit for light, upbeat movements that wrap things up on a cheerful note. Of course, these are all flexible structures, so composers could get creative with them while still providing listeners with something familiar to hold on to.
What about the musical form where each section sounds kind of like the others?
Oh yeah, and there's like a melody that gets transformed over the course of the piece.
Hey, cool. What is the musical form where there is a melody that gets transformed over a bunch of fairly short pieces?
Ah, yes, the theme and variation. Theme and variations is a musical form where a composer creates a musical idea, like a melody or short phrase, the theme, and reworks it in a variety of different ways. These reworking are called variations.
Variations.
The theme is often quite simple, clear, and easy to remember, which helps the listener follow the musical narrative through each variation. Now, keep in mind that each variation will be quite different. The composer might speed things up, slow them down, change the fundamental rhythm, or even switch the quality of the key from major to minor or vice versa. What's fun about theme and variations is that no matter how different each variation is, one can usually still hear traces of the original theme quite easily.
It's just so beautiful.
It's a way for composers to show off their creativity while sticking to something familiar.
Didn't the teacher say something about melody?
Oh yeah, like it was kind of different in the classical period?
I remember it was something about using all 12 pitches in an evenly distributed way.
Yeah, that's totally it.
No, that is not it. Guys, I might be checked out, but that's like way later.
Okay, genius. Then what's the answer?
I have no idea. Jeff, just ask the horse.
Was there something different about melodic material in the classical period?
Indeed. Unlike the dense counterpoint found in many compositions of the Baroque period, the melodic content of classical period compositions are far simpler in a manner of speaking. Furthermore, the general contour of a melody is often more predictable, and the relationship between the melody and accompaniment is more easily discernible.
What about instrumentation? Weren't there some changes?
I remember there being changes, maybe with the keyboard instruments.
Oh yeah, like the harpsichord or whatever it was got louder.
No, remember, the harpsichord was always the same loudness.
I don't remember that at all, so I guess that makes me an idiot.
Oh my god, you're not an idiot.
Well, thank you for that.
But you are definitely a jerk sometimes.
Better a jerk than an idiot, am I right?
Oh my god, just whatever. Jeff, just ask the horse.
Okay. Horse, were there changes to instrumentation in the classical period?
The orchestra certainly grew during the classical period, and the piano became increasingly popular, eventually surpassing the harpsichord in usage. Furthermore, these instruments were used to produce a wider range of dynamics, meaning there was more variety in loudness, and to that end, expression in a very general sense.
Didn't the teacher talk about a specific group of composers?
The teacher mentioned a lot of different names.
Did anyone write them down?
Yeah, I did. I'll see John, Amanda, Charlie, Cecilia.
What? That was just the teacher taking attendance.
Well, how am I supposed to know who is or isn't a famous composer?
Oh my god, dude, don't you have a party to go to or something?
I mean, probably.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask, Horse, who were some of the most important composers during this time?
Some of the most important composers of the classical period include Joseph Haydn, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Ludwig von Beethoven, and by some accounts, Franz Schubert. This group of composers is referred to as the Viennese School.
Did that horse just say something about a school? Yeah, and they went to the same one together.
No, I don't think that's right.
It's because they all lived together in like a commune.
Wait, what are you talking about, commune? It was a cult.
It wasn't a commune or a cult, Jeff, just ask.
Okay, Horse, what do you mean by the Viennese School?
The phrase Viennese School refers to the fact that these composers all lived and worked in Vienna, Austria, and collectively made a significant impact on the musical style of the classical period.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. So what can you tell us about Joseph Haydn?
Joseph Haydn was born on March 31, 1732, in the Austrian village of Royrau, and showed musical talent from an early age. At just 8 years old, he was recruited to sing in the choir at St. Stephen's Cathedral in Vienna, where he received his foundational musical training. He eventually went on to study composition independently, drawing inspiration from the older composers as he steadily improved his craft. In the 1760s, he entered into service with the wealthy Esterházy family, a relationship that would span nearly 3 decades. This position gave him the stability and resources to focus on his compositional practice. Haydn became one of the most influential composers of the classical period, earning the nickname Father of the Symphony due to his contribution of over 100 symphonies. He also played a key role in developing the string quartet and was a major influence on both Mozart and Beethoven. Haydn's final years were spent in Vienna, where he was respected and admired.
That dude is like totally my hero.
He died on May 31, 1809, at the age of 77.
Wow, now that is a lot of symphonies.
I mean, sort of. I've already made 25 beats today.
Yeah, and each one is more mid than the last.
Yeah, guy, maybe lay off the free templates.
Guys, you can fight later. Jeff, ask the horse about Mozart.
Oh yeah, so can you tell us about Mozart?
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was born on January 27, 1756, in Salzburg, Austria. A child prodigy, he began composing music at the age of 5 and was performing for European royalty not long after. His father, Leopold, recognized his extraordinary talent early and took him on extensive tours across the continent, showcasing Mozart's abilities. By his teenage years, Mozart had already written symphonies, sonatas, and operas. Though he spent much of his youth traveling, he returned to Salzburg to work as a court musician. Despite his success, he often found court life frustrating and eventually moved to Vienna, where he pursued a mostly freelance career. There, he composed some of his greatest works, including The Marriage of Figaro, Don Giovanni, and The Magic Flute. Mozart's life, though artistically rich, was often troubled by financial hardship. and he died in Vienna on December 5, 1791, at just 35 years old. In his short life, he composed hundreds of works, many of which are considered masterpieces of Western music.
Ah, dead at 35? I'm going to be retired by then.
Zood, you're still going to be living at home or in jail by then.
Yeah, aren't you on academic probation?
Yeah, and if I don't pass this class, I'm going to get kicked out.
Uh-huh, you're totally screwed.
Which we can all agree is hilarious and totally dude's fault, but we need to keep moving.
Right, so Horst, can you tell us about Beethoven?
Ludwig van Beethoven was born in Bonn, Germany, in December 1770, and showed promise as a keyboardist and composer at a young age. His father, hoping to promote him as a prodigy like Mozart, pushed him hard, and by his teens, Beethoven was already working professionally as a musician. In his early 20s, he moved to Vienna, then the cultural capital of the music world. There, he studied with Joseph Haydn and subsequently earned a reputation for his powerful piano playing and bold compositions. Some of Beethoven's music can be considered a bridge between the classical and romantic periods, as he pushed established musical boundaries with works like his Third Symphony, the Eroica. In his late 20s, Beethoven began to lose his hearing, a devastating blow for any musician, yet he continued to compose, producing some of his most profound work. For instance, his Ninth Symphony, which includes the famous Ode to Joy, stands as a remarkable testament to his resilience and genius. Despite not being able to experience his own works, Beethoven died in Vienna on March 26, 1827. His funeral was attended by thousands, and he remains one of the most celebrated and influential figures in the history of Western music.
Wow, can you imagine being a composer and then going deaf?
I mean, I imagined I was blind when I saw you dancing at that party.
What are you talking about? My moves are fire.
Dude, no one says fire anymore.
Well, I do.
Haha, of course you do.
Whatever, bro. Check out these moves.
Oh my god.
It just looks like you're having a seizure.
All right, bro. Guess it's time for a dance-off.
Oh my god, you guys, you can have a dance-off later. Let's just keep moving.
Agreed. Horst, can you tell us about Schubert and why he's sometimes included in the Viennese school?
Franz Schubert was born on January 31, 1797 in Austria, and as with the other composers of the Viennese school, showed exceptional musical talent as a child and was admitted into the Imperial Seminary, where he received a solid musical education. Though he briefly trained to become a teacher like his father, Schubert's real passion was for composition. Schubert lived much of his life in modest circumstances. He never held a major court position or enjoyed the widespread fame that composers like Beethoven did during their lifetimes. Yet, although he died in 1828 at only 31 years of age, Schubert composed an astonishing amount of music, including more than 600 songs or lieder, along with symphonies, piano works, chamber music, and operas. His music is marked by strong lyricism, wide emotional range, and harmonic exploration. Some consider works like the Unfinished Symphony, the Trout Quintet, and his song cycles, such as Winterreise, to have helped shape the Romantic movement in music. Though Schubert lived and worked in the same city and era as Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven, and admired their music, he is only sometimes included as part of the so-called Viennese school. This is largely because his style pointed more toward Romanticism than the musical ideologies of the classical period.
Didn't the teacher name a bunch of other composers?
Oh yeah, but that they weren't as popular or something?
Yeah, or didn't stand the test of time as well?
That sounds really familiar. Jeff, ask the horse.
Hi, Horst. Were there other composers active during this time?
There are far too many to name, but a few you might want to consider investigating include Marianne von Martinez, Louise Reichardt, Muzio Clementi, Pierre Rodet, Maria Brizzi Giorgi, Antonio Salieri, Carl Czerny, and John Field.
Okay, just a couple more. What was the listening public like at this time, and was the church still involved?
During the classical period, music started to shift toward a more secular audience. composers were increasingly writing for public concerts, private salons, and the entertainment of the aristocracy. Opera houses were popular, and the continued rise of the middle class meant more people were attending concerts outside of religious settings. But that doesn't mean sacred music disappeared. There were still masses, oratorios, and other religious works being composed, especially for church services and other special occasions of a sacred nature.
Thanks, Horace. We'll let you know if we have any more questions.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
The magical musical pause.